Retrograde from Sector 13.
Chet, do you have anything called Sector 13?
Do we have anything called Sector 13? No, nothing like that. He answered and turned left.
Nabak's head slowly rotated toward Patch.
Have you ever heard of Sector 13? Not while I was in Berlin, but I'll check that out. I doubt anyone's ever heard of it. You're working with a scientist named Alexander Moon and the communist, aren't you, Patch? Ray said Moon left the project. And Moon called you, didn't he, Patch? No. What was Sector 13? Asked the Ivy Leaguer. Where we had the chamber, embarking chamber to step through time.
Nabak's head slowly rotated toward Patch.
He's telling us the truth as he knows it. Kill Carlos now, said Patch, his eyes heavy. Kill Carlos now. Higgins has gone to the communists. Who told you? Who told you? Who told you that Higgins was going to defect, Patch? Meinkewitz.
Danwald shook his head.
Who gave you this legend, Patch? Legend? Someone put this in your head. Gave you a story. Someone in the agency, Patch. Who was it? I came back. I landed in from one. You don't understand. Stop Carlos now, before the future comes. I have a responsibility to those people who will die. Who? What people? People killed in the blast. Bright cloud over New York. Everything sucked up in the city. God. They did nothing. Nothing. Carlos killed them. He and Higgins. The plutonium. Help me change this. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Are you saying Carlos and Higgins have access to plutonium? They will. It will be brought into all major American cities and bombs built. This is preposterous. Poor people. It's all right, Patch. It's all right. He's telling us the fucking truth. Time travel and the so-called retrograde hypothesis are just theories. What does Meinkewitz say? He believes Kincaid, but he can't explain it. I am not persuaded by theories, only by facts. The fact concerning me is Patch's prior knowledge of Higgins' defection. Kate is in Miami. I have a radio right over there. You listen very carefully. You will tell me the truth now. Kate knows nothing. Don't toy with us, Kincaid. Fernando, bring them women to the radio. Patch, I'm in Miami. I have a gun in my head. It's all over, brother. The truth, Kincaid. Forget your KGB instructions. Forget what they told you. Who sent you? Meinkewitz sent me. Listen to me, asshole. I'm counting back from 5. You hear me, Mort? Kate will die, Patch. And you want to be responsible for Kate's death? Oh, no. Please, I have no more answers. 5, 4, 3, Sector 13. Kate went into the chamber. 2, tell me the truth, Kincaid, or she's dead. I have told you. Kill her, Mark. She's dead, Hank. No. You did it, Kincaid. You killed her. You wouldn't tell us the truth. Tell us who you work for. Katie. I'm so sorry, Katie. My God, how can you live with yourself, Patch? Why would you sacrifice her like this? Who made you do this? Retrograde. Time is running out. Maybe a week left. Please help me find him. Kill Carlos. Kill Carlos. Carlos is an important man. Carlos is going to kill Castro. Or do you want Castro to rule Cuba? I don't care. Say, Kate. Oh, Kate. You were paid by Soviet agents, Patch. Who are they? Asked someone. Eric Bornheim. Eric Bornheim. Where did you meet him? Sector 13. They broke down the door. Harrington couldn't stop them with the army guys. No one left to defend the complex. He and Carlos made it inside. Guns. I escaped. I went back. You know Johnny Rosselli, don't you, Patch? Was it Rosselli? A traffic contact. Rosselli double-crossed them, didn't he, Patch? We have things at stake here, Patch. I'm talking about countries. Is Carlos Sánchez working for the communists? Both. How do you know this? Meinkewitz told me. Carlos was in prison. Carlos was in prison for 11 years when we found out. Getting nowhere, Dorian. Just kill him and be done with it. No. Patch, Patch, you have a choice. You can tell us the truth, or you can spend the next few weeks or longer in the brig here in camp. Doesn't matter now. You murdered Kate, you son of a bitch. Get him out of here.
Chapter 23.
A6, Murgatalo, Guatemala, March 28, 1961, 10:16 a.m. The rain drummed against the cold room's aluminum roof. Water seeped through the wallboards, and additional rain occasionally dripped through the roof seams onto the wood floor. Patch stroked his beard. He wondered how much time had passed since the drug had left his body. They fed him twice a day on a metal plate filled with garbage scraps from the mess hall. The water smelled foul. Twice a day the guard brought him outside to use the latrine. He repeatedly imagined Golden Gate Park in San Francisco 25 years from now. Kate's yellow spreading dress caught perfectly in the sunlight, and her hair pulled up and neatly dangling along her smooth neck. The searing heat cloud over New York City and the pug-nosed face of Carlos Sánchez supplanted the clear images from the park. He heard the door jingle. Maybe they were going to drug him again. Then he thought he heard Meínkewitz's voice. Patch. Patch squinted from the corner of the room. Ray. Meinkewitz studied his still bruised face and held up his arm. Damn. There was no need for this crap, Patch. Listen up.
I had to clear this trip. Fletcher night, and I'm supposed to report back to him.
What's wrong with these bastards? It's not them, Patch. It's the whole Cuban thing. It's got them all baffled all the way from Kennedy on down. Is that why Katie's dead? Because they're baffled? I'm real sorry about Kate. Then they really killed her. That's what they told me. Silence followed, and Meinkewitz sat on the floor next to Patch. The rain pounded on the roof. Patch, they are flying Colonel Kincaid in from Japan. Not going to happen. Why not? Because you wouldn't know about the Korbinski self-consistency principle. Korbinski claims that if an event exists in time, it would give rise to a paradox, and then the probability of that event happening is zero. My father meeting me is a paradox. It won't happen. Well, you don't know that. That's just a theory. And I'm not sure that what you're saying is totally true. I would have to see the math. Who the hell cares, Ray? They're in control. They can ruin your life. For at least a minute, he closed his eyes and listened to the rain tap dance on the aluminum roof. Then Meinkewitz held his wrist. Listen up, Patch. I believe your story, especially because you never change it.
Even with bronze injection.
What worries me is retrograde. The sword of Damocles. I'm just afraid this whole thing will have been fruitless. I won't have changed anything. I'll be zapped back to Sector 13. Carlos and Bonheim will be out to get me, and I won't have stopped the bombs. Meinkewitz leaned his head against the boards. They don't believe you, but at the same time, I think you've got them running scared because they haven't broken you. It's nothing to break. I know that, and you know that. It's just that they don't know what to do with you. Two things have them baffled. One is how you knew about Higgins and your connection to Carlos. I only know about them in the future, Ray. In some circles, Carlos is a hero with the exiles. I'm told from a reliable source that this is true. Then you must have double-crossed them, Ray.
Now, because Spence and Bob Dietrich haven't heard from him, they want to know why you think that Carlos is a traitor. Because they think the same thing, but can't prove it.
Dietrich has his plate full.
He may fly down here, Patch. This Carlos thing is damn serious. Especially if he's playing both sides. 1986 is damn serious, Ray. Carlos is the one who needs to be killed. Meinkewitz pinched the bridge of his nose as thunder boomed in the distance. Then he looked up. Do you remember the history? Did Carlos try and kill Castro, or have you changed something? Patch stumbled to his feet. He looked out the window as the rain splattered against the mud. Smoke wandered upward to the low-hanging clouds. Ray, Carlos didn't kill Castro. Castro and Kennedy established diplomatic relations after their meetings. I don't want to change anything else. I believe this invasion thing was called off because Kennedy didn't think it would work. What have I done, Ray? I've changed the flow of time. I'm telling you, this invasion never happened. While the Joint Chiefs of Staff have revised their invasion plans. This thing was supposed to take place on the 10th of March before the Russian supply ships arrived in Cuba on the 15th. Even the original landing site has been changed. Oh, God, no. The Trinidad plan provided a way to destroy Castro's Air Force and would have provided a secure beachhead. A lot of anti-Castro people are in Trinidad, with the Matre River swamp and the Port Terrain and the Escambray Mountains. That's perfect to keep Castro and his goons out, so Castro would be confined to a pinpoint area. They'd bomb his tanks and trucks in one strike, and the B-26s would land in Trinidad. Now the whole thing is canceled, and the Russians have delivered tanks and artillery. I don't remember any invasion. Kennedy wanted peace. Apparently they've convinced Kennedy there'll be guerrilla support against Castro. For Patch, there's more. What? I fear you have changed something. Why do you say that? Possibly from the Soviet Union that's going to help all that guerrilla activity. I'm not sure, but I think it made it all the way up to the president. Enough to prompt this invasion. Meinkewitz stared outside into the jungle. As the Russians are shipping munitions to Cuba, Patch pinched the bridge of his nose.
Ashcombe and the others want Cuba back.
Even if I've changed history and this invasion takes place, I still have to kill Carlos. The administration does not want this invasion as an international tool. Patch turned from the window. I don't care what they think. How do I find Carlos? The whole thing is classified, Patch, said Meinkewitz as he rubbed his hand over his mouth and thought. Our operatives are on the ground in Cuba and they put out the word. The information I received stated that Carlos is supposed to be in the area of the brigade landing in order to kill Castro. Remember, Carlos plays both sides. Powers to be changed the landing location, but Carlos knew about it. He wants to defect, or so he says. Let me tell you, too many people are upset about this new location. It doesn't block Castro's forces like the terrain did in the old location. I have a bad feeling about this whole thing. Too many damn people involved. I don't care about this or any invasion, Ray. I need to kill Carlos Sánchez, period. Patch closed his eyes and put his head in his hands as he spoke. I just should have found Carlos when I arrived. Meinkewitz continued his pacing and ended up at the window. Just going after Carlos when you arrived might not have worked either. I'm coming to believe that it doesn't take much to screw up the timeline. This Korbinski thing may work mathematically, but there's too much we don't know about changing time. Tell me about it. I'm afraid to use the latrine because I might pee away the future. Meinkewitz produced a quirky grin. My name's Captain Patch Kincaid, and I pissed away the future. Yep. I don't mean to sound like I'm trying to frighten you, Patch, but he faced the table and spoke in a lower voice. I'm afraid someone out there is going to give the order, and then you'll be dead. I just don't know. You really believe me, Ray? Meinkewitz stared at him. Yeah. In the future, I must have told you about that letter from my mother-in-law when I was going with my wife. There's no way anyone could have known about that unless I told you. That's the only way. What else? There is something else. Oh, damn it, what? Colonel Kincaid is being brought over here, and so is his son. You could disappear from the future. One false move. It'll never happen, I tell you. As part of this chess game, Meinkewitz gazed out the window again. Both men remained silent as the jeeps and trucks moved through the muddy compound. Meinkewitz put his hands in his chino pockets and faced Patch. Word gets out that you've gone after Carlos. You've had it. There are people in this camp who think he's a patriot for going after Castro. They don't know what you know, and they would kill you without batting an eye. I understand that. Time, my future friend, is running out. Base X, Gritalo, Guatemala, April 1st, 1961, 9:35 p.m. A bald-headed man with glasses and gray hair on the sides sat with another gray-haired man, well-groomed in a beige windbreaker at a worn mess hall table. The bald-headed guy wore military fatigues. They both stood when two of the military guards shoved Patch inside. Someone placed a pewter plate filled with eggs and bacon on the table next to a cup of coffee. "Perhaps it's time you had something to eat, Captain," said the well-groomed guy. Patch looked over his shoulder for the guards. Then he edged his way forward. He said nothing and sat on the bench. As both